Kristine.
And this is This Week in Vegas.
The Ninth Island Connection podcast.
It never gets old.
Welcome to number 6 podcast for us. And if you're not familiar with us, we are a television show, Ninth Island Connection. Sebastian hosts. I do everything else. Just kidding.
That's not true.
Maybe a little bit. I'll pitch. I'm behind the scenes on that. And we also do a YouTube channel. We're everywhere on social media. And we just started this podcast, This Week in Vegas, the Ninth Island Connection podcast. So thank you for joining us on this. And what you can expect on This Week in Vegas is
everything going on this week in Vegas. So we're talking concert announcements, events. We're talking about pools now that we're moving into pool season. So all of your DJs, we're talking about construction, any delays at the airport that you can expect, any closures. So really everything going on so that you can have the best possible time while you're here in Vegas. Or if you're just like me and you sit at home just wanting to know what's going on in other cities across the country, this is the place because we give you guys a recap on everything going on in Vegas.
Hey, I'm a little nervous with your hands there. I know. You're going to hit me over there. All right. Anyway, guys, let's get into it. We're going to start off with the news of things that's going on here in Vegas. First up, Weird Al Yankovic. Remember Weird Al from childhood?
He's still around.
He's still around.
I feel like, and I'm older. I'm 50 years old. I own that. I feel like when I was a kid, he was old.
Yeah.
But when you're a kid, I think people that are 30 are like old.
Yeah, that's
true. But I feel like he was old when I was a kid.
That is
and he's
true.
still rocking.
But you know what? He kind of looks the same as he did when we were kids.
Yes.
So it's kind of interesting. But he is coming to Vegas. He has a bigger and weirder tour that's coming to the Venetian, and that's going to be June 13th through 15th, and also the 18th, 20th, and 21st. So if you are a Weird Al fan, that's going to be for you. I don't know if he has new music. I haven't heard anything since
I've been
Riding
out of the Weird Al loop.
When I'm White and Nerdy. I think that was the last song I remember is White and Nerdy. And that was when we were like early 2000s maybe?
Well, he's got to be still doing something, right? Because anybody just doesn't come to Vegas. Like you've got to be at the top of your game and have a pretty big following to sell tickets in Vegas. Because there's a lot of competition when it comes to entertainment.
Oh my gosh.
It comes to shows. There's just so many options. So you've got to be doing something right to still have a following today.
Yeah, the competition in entertainment recently is like the competition in dining.
Yes.
It's like, your like restaurants are so competitive because there's so many of them off and on the strip. And then entertainment, same thing. It's a battle.
I like it though, because that means that you've got to be at the top of your game to survive in Vegas.
That's true.
If you're not doing it right, if you don't have that following, then it's over.
Yeah.
So you can expect like great food, great entertainment, because like Kristine said, and we've been talking about, there's so much competition.
Yeah.
So every restaurant that you go to, every entertainer, every show, they want to wow you so that you can tell your friends and you can come back again.
True. So no junk in Vegas. That's what you can expect. All right. Next up, you want to share this one of your favorite places?
Oh, we're heading over to South Point. I talk about South Point all the time. Disclaimer, nobody pays us for anything here on our podcast or any of our social media. We are not sponsored by anybody. That doesn't mean we're not taking applications.
Yeah, feel free.
Feel free. But we are not sponsored by anybody. So when we talk about stuff, it's based on our experience and really a recommendation for you guys. We think you guys would enjoy it as well. So South Point, we love South Point. Mm-hmm. It's a local favorite and it's always busy.
Always busy. Like no matter what day, what time, I swear that parking lot is always full. And their parking lot is massive. And their parking is free, yes.
Yes.
I was just going to say that. You read my mind. Weird.
Brain is joined. We're joined. Right.
Anyway, back to South Point.
So South Point, we're talking about Steak and Shake. Now, if you haven't been there, Steak and Shake at South Point, they're always busy. They're located down near the Poker Room and Zenshin, which is an awesome Asian restaurant. So check them out. And check out Steak and Shake. It's over on the Poker Room side of the casino. So if you don't go past the buffet, if you come in that side, then you're missing a lot of action on the other side of the casino.
That's true.
So take a walk and check it out.
And that Steak and Shake is actually allegedly the busiest Steak and Shake of all the Steak and Shakes across the country. So,
Yes,
and it looks like it.
it does. It's always busy in there. And it's got to be for a reason, right? People are
Yeah.
going and they love it. And that is the 2 times Franchise of the Year champion. So check them out. Take a selfie. Hey, busiest Steak and Shake in the country right there.
But that's a pretty big award because if you think about South Point, they have so many dining options. They have like fancy steakhouse. They have a Mexican restaurant. They have their 24/7 diner, coffee shop. They have the buffet, of course, which is so popular, especially on Fridays and Saturdays because they have the crab legs and the prime rib. I know I'm missing something on Zention, as you mentioned.
They've got those hot dogs.
Yeah, they have the
hot
dog cart
over there by the sports book.
Yeah, so even with all of those like other options, Steak and Shake is still kicking butt and beating out all the other Steak and Shakes. So congratulations, Steak and Shake at South Point. All right, next up, we are going to be home to the American Music Awards. So the American Music Awards has been held in LA, and you know
forever.
Yeah.
Ever since its inception.
Yep. And just like a lot of people from LA who moved to Vegas, now the award show is going to be moving to Vegas. And this is going to be airing on Memorial Day, which is May 26th. And so they'll be doing that live here in Vegas, which is really cool. One more thing that's going to bring in a lot of people, a lot of business, and a lot of money into the city. So that's always a good thing for Vegas.
When it comes to like music shows and music events, this is just another feather in the cap.
That's true.
There's the Billboard Music Awards, iHeart Music Festival, When We Were Young Festival. There's
they did the CMTs here before.
The CMTs have been here.
BET Awards has been here before. Yeah. So
and now the MAAs. It's a natural fit. I mean, it's just this city was made AMAs.
Not MMAs. We do have MMA here, but that's that's not music awards.
But this city was built for entertainment.
Yes.
I mean, ever since Elvis Presley, way back when, was doing his thing here on the Strip and the Rat Pack, it's made for entertainment. So them moving from LA to Vegas, I'm really not surprised.
Well, it's a natural fit. I mean, we are the entertainment capital of the world. We have so many things happening here. And you know what? If you're in town at that time and you're able to get tickets, do it. It's really cool to go to an award show event and be a part of that. You're kind of like get to see the behind the scenes. We went, it feels like 100 years ago, but it wasn't.
It wasn't.
What was it? The Billboard
Awards.
The Billboard Music Awards. And it was so fun to just be able to like be there and be a part of it and see all like the performances and also like the behind the scenes of how they make an award show. It was just
when they do a
really
commercial
cool.
break, it was pretty neat to see like producers coming on stage, commercial break, short intermission, get back to your seats. I mean, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, we're coming back, in 3, 2, 1. It was really cool. You kind of felt like you were a part of the show. So it was neat. So I highly recommend if you can attend an event like that, whether it's the AMAs or something else here, it's just a really cool experience.
We have to talk about pool season.
Yay,
the weather is heating up, but don't let it fool you because this is the time of year where it could be 75, 80 degrees one day, 55 and raining and blustery winds the very next day.
Unfortunately, we have scheduled a lot of hopeful pool days in the month of March and been disappointed. Actually, even in the month of April and October too, because it's kind of a crapshoot with the spring and the fall in Vegas for sure.
Early spring is kind of like, it's like a game of roulette. Sometimes your number hits, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
So for right now, a lot of the pools are getting ready to open. Majority of pools do open by mid-March. Pretty much mid-March, they're all open. There are some that are open now, but it is dependent on the weather because they're not going to pay a full staff to just stand around or sit under umbrellas when the weather is garbage and nobody's at the pool. So check with the property that you're staying at to see if they're open pending weather. Because you could call them, it could be a beautiful day, and they could say, absolutely, it's 80 degrees here in Vegas, we are open. You can get to Vegas and it could be 55, windy and cloudy. The pool may not be open, so be sure to check with the property first.
And you mentioned the staffing. That's also a big thing because they do hire regularly for pool staffing. They actually have tryouts for
in
pool
January.
staffing. Big, huge interviews, yes, for all different positions at the pool. But a lot of the pool staff are younger, college age, so they don't always have a full staff right when pool season kicks off. So that does impact the opening and closing times of the pools. Later on in the summer, they stay open later, but usually in the spring, you can expect them to be closing around 4 or 5 o'clock. And that's typically due to the staffing. And they might not have the whole pool open or all of the pools open because they don't have enough staff.
Yeah. So that's like Luxor. Luxor has like 7 different pool areas. So this time of year, they may not all be open. You might have just one pool open. So it may seem a little crowded, but that's because the entire property is not open. I know Paris, they tend to split their pool in half.
And I hate when they do that. I hate when they do that because it gets so crowded. So everybody's all in that one area, and there's day beds there and the lifeguard towers, and everyone's like scrunched in.
Yes, but that's early spring and fall, like October timeframe. During the summer peak season, if you guys have been here, you know it's wide open. But that's just a heads up if you guys are going to be in town this coming week and weekend.
And we're hoping that this year brings better news when it comes to the pools, because last year we had quite the sticker shock when we were going to the pools at the beginning of the spring and the beginning of summer, because for Caesars properties, you know, it's already expensive to drink in Vegas, and it's already even more expensive when you're at the pool. And it was what, typically like $45.50 for a bucket of beers or seltzers.
Yep.
It went up to
$85.
That's before tax and tip. I mean, it was crazy. Like, so if we wanted to have a cocktail at the pool, which of course you want to have a cocktail at the pool when it's like 90 to 100 degrees.
That's a little bit, that's like egregious, which is a new favorite word of mine. To go from 45-ish for a bucket of drinks, which averages to be around $10, $8 to $10 per drink, to jumping to twice that, where you're spending about $15 to $16 for a 12-ounce high noon. That's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yes.
If that's your budget, though, and that's how you roll, fantastic. Whatever. Everybody else, like us, we were like, this is ridiculous. So it really has impacted the amount of time we spend at the pool. We're not spending like all day at the pool like we used to do, where we would do 2 or 3 buckets.
No, we never did 3 buckets.
Maybe. Come on. I'm sure that there's been at least one time that we've done it for
not just
bucket.
the 2 of us, maybe when people were visiting.
Okay,
definitely
but
not the 2 of us, because we'd be like stumbling out of the pool.
But it has happened.
With other people.
Yes. Okay. That's a small win for me, guys. But now it's just like 1 bucket and we're out of there. So it definitely has impacted our time. And that's just a heads up for you guys, because we did get a lot of feedback on some of the pool videos that we did when we were talking about the pricing. If you haven't been in a few years, that's what you can expect.
Yes. And hopefully MGM pools are not as expensive.
We haven't been there yet.
Yes. Yeah. We haven't tested them out. And maybe they noticed a decline in pool sales last year, and hopefully maybe they'll go, okay, maybe it's our drink prices. Let's bring them back down a little more reasonable. So who knows? Who knows? Anyway, moving on from the pools, we're moving on to Harry Reid Airport. There's actually a new Capital One lounge that finally opened. If you've traveled to Vegas recently, you might have noticed all the construction happening.
Right up at the top by the Starbucks.
Yep, it's actually, at the D concourse by, I think it's D50.
Yep.
Yep, so there's a new Capital One lounge there. The lounge is actually for select Capital One card holders. So I don't know if they invite you. I have a few Capital One cards. Maybe I can go check that out. Although they probably wouldn't let Carlos in. We travel with our dog Carlos.
No, because I know like the American Express one, the Delta Sky Lounge, they're not pet friendly.
We have all these perks and we can't even enjoy them at the airport.
That's okay. We get to bring Carlos with us. One of the things that I like about this, even though we won't go there, but you guys will be able to partake, and this is something that Vegas does well. I mean, we have our share of celebrity chefs, and Gordon Ramsay's up and down the strip everywhere. So is Bobby Flay and all those guys. I'm not saying anything bad about that, but they're just kind of everywhere. Vegas does low key support local small businesses. So in this lounge, one of the things that I really like is they're going to be offering beers from the Las Vegas Brewing Company, which is a local brewery here in town. And there are a lot of other breweries, so hopefully that will grow. If you guys have been down to the Arts District, there's probably, 3, 4 just down in that little corridor alone?
Able Baker, there's Huddle, there's Nevada Beer Works, there's Craft House down there.
That's just 4.
That's 4, and then I think there's more moving down. I forget. When you make your way and you have a drink at all the breweries, you tend to forget the names of them as you get, further down the street.
It becomes
but it's a good time. Highly recommend.
It becomes like, I really like that last place. What was the name of it?
Yeah. Yeah. Pro tip, take pictures so you can know where you liked the beer and
yeah,
what the name of the place was where you went.
Like Bad Bunny said, take more photos. Take more photos, more memories.
All right. They also are going to have from Urban Rye. They're going to do cocktail collabs with them too there. So it's nice that they're doing that little local connection.
Well, I would imagine that majority of people that are going to be in this lounge are on their way out of town. I don't know that too many people are going to be chilling there on their way into town. Although if you're waiting for somebody, if you're coming in on different flights, which some people do, they meet up in Vegas from different parts of the country, waiting at the airport for somebody to come in. That's a great spot to chill and wait, have a couple cocktails, and get game ready.
Yeah, yep. All right, next up, the Slatzilla down on Fremont Street is currently running a deal, $25, and this is Mondays through Wednesdays from noon to 4 p.m. You can ride the Slatzilla zip line for just $25. So that's pretty cool. I don't even remember how much it is. It's been so long since we've done it.
Yeah, $25. That's not a bad deal here in Vegas for an experience.
Yeah. And then sometimes the Slatzilla gives you a bonus experience because you sometimes may not make it all the way to the end and they have to come and rescue you. So we've seen it so many times when there's been the people that are like halfway through the zip line and they're stuck like randomly and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm stuck here, and they have to have the people come and like just
rappel down.
Yeah, and come and pull them back. It's kind of funny.
A hot spot seems to be around the Golden Nugget.
Yes, because when we
see a lot of people get stuck around that area. So if you're riding Slotzilla for the first time, if you pass Golden Nugget, highly likely you're not going to get stuck. Because that seems to be a majority of where we see people get stuck.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a super fun thing to do. And with that price, that's a great, I mean, I think
$25 is a great deal.
$25 is like a drink down there sometimes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a great deal and a lot of fun. And again, we're just, most people don't get stuck, but it does happen. And what a fun job that would be to be the person who has to go get the people unstuck. I mean, you'd be in such good shape.
And yes, everybody on the ground of Fremont Street Experience, while you're stuck up there, they're staring at you and you're on their social media. 100% you're on somebody's social media while you're up there. So that is happening if it happens to be you.
All right. Last but not least, you want to talk about some jackpots here in Vegas?
Yeah, so we haven't had any massive jackpots. This is just what we've seen through social media. There are some properties that we've learned that don't share big winners on their social media. They purposely do not because I guess they don't want other casino properties to start reaching out to them like, oh, you should come gamble here at Sebastian's Casino when they see you winning, say, at Kristine's Casino and all over their social media. They try to get you to come over. And I've just recently learned that they don't want to share. Yeah. But then others do. And these are some of the jackpots that we've seen. And this one I wanted to talk about because you don't hear about M Resort very much. They're building like a brand new tower over there.
They did a huge expansion that should be done in the near future.
They've got a lot going on over there, and it's a beautiful property. And it's not far from the main strip corridor. A lot of people go there before or after shopping at the outlet mall down on that end of the strip, or just go there for dinner. It's good for big groups and stuff at their restaurants and stuff. But somebody was over there just casually gambling $12.50 and wound up winning $15,000 on a slot machine. Over to Palace Station, which is on the backside of, say, like Treasure Island side?
Yeah, isn't it across the highway, though?
Yeah, it's on the other side of the highway, but I want to say it's like by Treasure Island on the other side of the highway. Palace Station, they're known for their oyster bar. A lot of locals hit up Palace Station also. Somebody won $11,000 playing the Emerald Guardian slot machine, which I've never seen. But
I've never seen that either.
Whenever I see this right here, you better believe I put it in my notes on my phone to check it out next time I go to the... Next time we're in the casino, I'm looking for those machines to try them because you never know. I might be the next one that you'll be hearing about on somebody else's podcast. And then Huff and Puff, which...
Huff and Puff drives me nuts.
Because we never win.
People love that game and there's always jackpots on it. Never us.
We've seen so many people where we're just casually rolling through a casino, Flamingo, Harrah's, Planet Hollywood. And people are just winning on bonuses on Huff and Puff.
And here's us. Here, Huff and Puff, take our $20.
There you
oh,
go.
Would you like another 20? There you go.
It's like 20 bucks in, 20 spins, 30 seconds, didn't even get a cocktail, all gone. But people win, and we always see people, so we still try. And Huff and Puff, we haven't given up on you just yet. And now they have Huff and Puff and even more stuff. And there's another Huff and Puff mansion that's like a tower looking thing. So anyway, somebody won $51,000 playing Huff and Puff over at the Palms. I wanted to mention this one because Palms is an absolutely beautiful property. We have featured them on our show, but this is still an unbiased opinion. I mean, they don't even know that we're talking about them. It's a beautiful property, and they did an amazing job over there. Yeah. They redid every single room. Their buffet,
and
they
their
moved
rooms
it.
are like theme rooms. Like
yes, there's a basketball court in one of them, like a full court,
and a bowling alley. They have a Kingpin suite, so it has like Woody Harrelson and Bill Murray pictures from Kingpin. It's funny.
They've got like books and stuff. I mean, it's just such a cool property, and they really did a great job over there. So anyway, somebody won $51,000 playing Huff and Puff, and maybe I'm the next one.
You're setting yourself up. Let's hope.
Putting it
Let's
out.
Hope. Put it
manifesting
out there.
this. That's what it is, right?
There.
Manifesting this. Put it into the universe.
Yes, and then maybe it'll come back to you.
Come back to me, please.
That'd be nice. At least get your $20 back.
Yeah, just give me $20 back. I just want to be even. I'm happy if I'm even.
All right, we talked a little bit about the weather, but here's what our weather is looking like this week in Vegas. So we've had some really beautiful weather in Vegas, like in the 70s, which is just really freaky for February. But again, we said in our last podcast that it's because we said it's rare. Now it's happening. So, you guys are welcome for that if you were visiting during that time, or if you're local and enjoying the sunshine, because that's definitely the sweet weather here in Vegas. But the 70s are definitely going away, back to more normal weather for this time of year. Into the low to mid 60s.
Which, depending on where you're coming from, I love mid 60s in Vegas. Yeah. I also love 120 degrees because I love the pools and I love the heat and love the sun.
I kind of like that happy medium though. I feel like, 60 or 120. I mean, we can maybe meet somewhere in the middle, and that's
I'm with you.
Sweet spot.
I'll tell you why I don't mind mid 60s, mid upper 60s. It's perfect for being outside.
Yes.
For checking out areas like Springs Preserve, walking the Arts District, hitting up the Neon Museum, that's all outdoors, East Fremont Street, just the downtown area.
Hikes.
Doing some shopping at one of the outlet malls that's open air. It's really a great time to just check out other parts of the Strip that you wouldn't otherwise because it's either too cold or too hot and you're focusing on just being indoors. It's also great for like patio dining because you're not roasting and you're not freezing. I like it for that, for just being outside and exploring. Now, if I'm going just to gamble, cold weather, hot weather, I'm indoors.
Well, and it is nice when it's that type of weather, when it's in the like 60s and it's a little warm but not too warm. But it definitely is not warm at night. It still cools down about at least 20 to 30 degrees at night, so you want to pack those jackets. All right, let's get into the events that are happening this week in Vegas. Kicking off, we've got the Super Bingo happening at the Plaza. That's the 3rd through the 5th. And we've mentioned this before. If you haven't been to the Plaza in a while, definitely add it to your list. They've done so many different renovations with the Sand Dollar, the Carousel Bar, the Brian Christopher slots.
They've got a beer vending machine.
Yeah, their showroom that has the misbehaved Mavericks. Just a lot going on at the Plaza. And of course, they are known for their Super Bingo, and they're having that this week. So if you're a bingo person, definitely go check that out.
We've got Chicago over at the Venetian on the 5th, 7th, and 9th. We've got Garth Brooks doing his thing still. He's been here for a minute.
Yes.
Over at Caesars Coliseum.
But these are the final shows, I believe.
The final shows before the encore shows, and then the last shows after the encore. So I'm sure he's going to be back. They always come back. Yeah. They always come back. We've got Pimpinella, who we're really not familiar with, over at Virgin on the 2nd.
Interesting name, though.
Pimpinella.
Pimpinella.
Tyler, the Creator, over at MGM Grand on the 7th. Tommy James and the Shondells over at Golden Nugget on the 7th, which is a nice little theater down there.
We've got Bryan Adams at the Wynn on the 7th and the 8th. and R&B Invitation. They're over at Virgin on the 8th. And then we have one of Sebastian's favorites, the Deftones at MGM Grand. That's happening on March 8th. And the Robert Cray Band is going to be over at the Venetian on the 8th. So the 8th is a busy day for music.
Busy in Vegas. We've got to talk about one of my favorite entertainers. If you've ever watched one of his music videos, I can tell you that the live version is exactly the same. And that's Pitbull.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Pitbull is going to be over at Fontainebleau on the 7th and 8th. And just like I said, it never stops. It is like, don't stop the party. Like that's one of it. It does not stop from beginning to end. This guy puts on a show.
He does.
100 miles an hour. Maroon 5 over at Dolby Live. That's on the 7th and 8th.
All right. And then we have the Eagles are back at the Sphere. They're going to be there the 7th and the 8th as well. Giggly Squad. That is Paige DeSorbo and Hannah Berner. They're going to be at the Cosmopolitan on the 8th. They're comedians, so hence Giggly Squad.
The Giggly Squad.
Modi Rosenfeld is going to be over at Westgate on the 8th. And then out at the Las Vegas Ballpark in Summerlin by Red Rock Resort Casino and Spa, they're having the College Baseball Classic, and it's going to be Illinois versus Texas on the 2nd. They're actually having Illinois versus Washington the day before that as well.
Yeah. I love the Las Vegas Ballpark. They recently, well, I say recently renovated, but it's been a few years.
They didn't renovate it, they built it.
They built a brand new ballpark. Look at that. Renovated, just a desert landscape.
He makes that stuff. You have to fact check this guy all the time.
It's a brand new ballpark in any event, and it's absolutely beautiful. We've been out there several times for baseball as well as Enchant for Christmas. There's Red Rock Casino is right across the street, downtown Summerlin. There's a Trader Joe's right over there. That's very popular. Just a great little community out there.
It is. Moving on.
We've got UFC happening at T-Mobile Arena on the 8th. We've also got the Mint 400 happening the 5th through the 9th. Now, the Mint 400, that was around the Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Wasn't that happening in town during that movie?
I think, no. The movie's based on that. He was coming to cover it.
To cover them. There's a lot of history around. I believe that's the oldest race ever in Nevada.
Yeah, and Atomic Liquors downtown, which is a really cool historic place to check out. They actually have a lot of memorabilia and drinks kind of named after Fear and Loathing and the Mint 400. They're a big part of that because actually during the Mint 400, there's a lot happening down on East Fremont Street in that area down just across from the Fremont Street Experience, which if you've never been, cross Las Vegas Boulevard, do yourself a favor, check out those different bars and restaurants along East Fremont as well as the Container Park. Awesome place.
Because they do kind of like a mini car show on that side. They've got food vendors, music. There's a lot happening on that side of town. Really love the East Fremont side.
All right. We also have Eddie Griffin at the Saks Theater, and that's inside of the Miracle Mile shops at Planet Hollywood. He's going to be there on the 7th and 8th. And I think he's going to be there several dates throughout the month of March as well.
He's one that comes back throughout the year.
Yeah.
He does come back.
Yeah.
We've also got VGK going to be at home at T-Mobile, of course, hosting the Devils on the 2nd, and then the Maple Leafs on the 5th, and the Penguins on the 7th. So T-Mobile is going to be popping this week in Vegas.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like it always is. And especially when the Knights are at home, there's a party happening at Toshiba Plaza just outside T-Mobile Arena. There's a party happening in the park. That's between New York, and Park MGM. That's where the cheerleaders and the band go through. It's just so much fun. So even if you're not going to the game, it's just kind of fun to be around that energy of all the excited fans. And this is just all the extra stuff happening this week in Vegas. Of course, all of the regular Vegas shows are happening, all the comedy shows, the magic shows, and of course, some of our favorite shows, the Cirque shows. And we've had just a really cool experience recently.
Just absolutely amazing.
Yes. So for our television show, we've been we're so excited. We're putting together this whole all Cirque du Soleil episode with all 5 Cirque shows in Vegas. And so we've been filming with them, interviewing different people who are part of the show. Sometimes they're actually in the show. Sometimes they're people who are more behind the scenes. And we've learned so much of what goes into Cirque and have even a deeper appreciation. I mean, my goodness, you go to a Cirque show and you're just in awe of the talent there. But then you don't even think about all the production that goes behind it, and like the music that goes behind it, the hours of practice. And we actually got to sit in a practice, which was super cool. And if you're not familiar with the Cirque shows, over at, just kind of walking us down the strip, we have at Mandalay Bay, there's the Michael Jackson one, which is of course a tribute to Michael Jackson's music, a lot of dancing, but as well as circus kind of acrobatic performers. It's just really cool. And they actually, if you've seen it a few years ago, it's not the same show.
They've just recently changed it.
Yeah, they've done
updated it.
Yeah, they've done a lot different like dance routines, different performers in there, and drones as well. Yep. So it's really cool. We recently checked that out, and it was a lot of fun. And then moving down, you've got at New York, you have Mad Apple, which is just, I mean, how do you describe Mad Apple?
If you've ever been to New York or watched a movie based in New York, like in the city, and you see the street performers, somebody down in the subway playing a saxophone or singing or juggling, there's so much talent in that city. I get chicken skin right now just talking about it. There's so much talent in that city, and that's what you can expect at Mad Apple. You've got saxophones, you've got juggling, you've got stand-up comedians, you've got a little bit of singing, dancing, break dancing,
acrobatic stuff happening
just
too.
So much going on there. It's a really awesome show,
and it's a really nice theater. Like it's I believe the only Cirque theater that has kind of like that T stage where they can walk out, and it's
got like the catwalk that comes out.
Yeah, so there's seats along the side, which we sat at when we watched the show, and it was really fun. Really cool show. And that's at New York. And then across the street over at MGM Grand, you have Ka.
Ka is celebrating like 20 years, though.
Ka is celebrating 20 years, so it has been in Vegas a long time. And Cirque has been a part of Vegas for such a long time. And Ka is the only one of the Cirque shows that really it started that had that story behind it.
Yes.
And so there's so many cool things happening with it. There's fire. There's definitely fire.
And Ka is the only one that doesn't have a stage.
Yeah, everything is moving.
It's a moving platform. There's no stage for Ka.
Yeah, no. And so we learned a little cool thing is that there's a symphony down there that is below the stage. And so the conductor has to watch the performance from below the stage and tell the musicians what they need to do based on what he's seeing, which I can't imagine how difficult that would be, but they do it, night after night, and they get it right. And that's just really cool. So it was just a very cool thing to learn about that. And that's another fun show. And then they have, of course, their most popular show is at the Bellagio. That's the opposite of the fire. You've got the water. Yeah, so everything is done over water, which is really impressive.
They have 5 scuba divers that are all tanked up and stay beneath the surface of the water the entire time, just to help the different acrobats and really athletes as they're entering the water and helping them get out to safety.
And then, of course, last but not least is the oldest show, Mystère, and that's over at Treasure Island. And that's where we actually got to sit in on a rehearsal.
Full practice.
And watch them practice. And it was just so cool to see how they practice these crazy moves that I can't even imagine attempting it, thinking about. And they're practicing them, they're mastering them to make sure that they're, on point for the show. It was just so cool to see.
It's so funny how you say we're watching them practice these crazy moves. And in their mind, they're just at work. That's just their job. It's just Tuesday for them.
Another day at the office.
It's just another day at the office. And we're like, holy cow, look at that. It's just insane. And they're just at work.
Yeah. It's just, the talent that goes into the Cirque shows. So, of course, if you guys can't tell, we're very excited about this upcoming episode that we're going to have. But for you guys visiting Vegas, if you're, not coming here for a major sporting event or concerts, Cirque is a great, I don't think you can go wrong with any of the shows. They're all great. I do miss Love. I wish that Love was still here. That was the 6th show that they had here, but it is no more, sadly. It has
who knows what else will come, because that was always a very popular show. And of course, it was at the Mirage. If you guys don't know, the Mirage is gone forever. It's converting to Hard Rock. They're going to put a guitar where that volcano was. But that's Vegas. Vegas constantly reinvents itself. So sad to see Mirage go, but really excited for Hard Rock to come and what they're going to bring. They might bring a Cirque show back. You never know.
Change is always possible here.
Yes.
And as we always say, if you're coming here for an event, make sure you stay up to date on that event with the performer as well as the venue, all those policies that go along with it, because it differs from place to place and performer to performer. And always have that plan B. I know we've talked about that before. Have that plan B. All right, guys, that's it. This is the end of our podcast, This Week in Vegas, the Ninth Island Connection podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope that this has all been helpful for you guys.
And if you guys are looking for even more Vegas and you want to watch our television show, Ninth Island Connection, stay right here.